Okay, bring out the popcorn and your favorite beverage, because this is going to be a long one. What do you do when you've seen it all on gaming audio? Well, you get this one. It's the Burton Audio Playmate 2, the ultimate USB gamer sound card. So I thought I had it all, top of the line equipment, top of the line everything, top of the line headset, top of the line sound cards. But then I remembered a video that I made in April of 2021, which was about the op-amps, which was a really cool video to make. And when doing the research for that video, I also came across, well, a USB gaming sound card. And back then I thought, well, something for the future. I'm not going to do it anyway, because I have too many other videos that I want to make. I still have a lot of videos I want to make, but still it's, well, it became Christmas and I had to buy myself a new Christmas present. And then I thought again about the Burton Playmate 2. So I ordered it online and I got it. So this is it. This is the Burton Audio Playmate 2. Now, Burton Audio is a company based in Melbourne, Australia. Now, I visited Melbourne myself about 20 years ago when I was a young lad. Nowadays, I'm not so young anymore. They have a really innovative way of looking at op-amps, hence the video that I made last year. But they also have another wide range of products. They have power supplies and also a lot of external sound cards with excellent components. And that's what this video is about the Playmate 2. Because this one has the unique ability that it also has a microphone in. Nearly all of them only have a headphone out or a line out. Now, sadly, the box itself got damaged by water when shipped here to the Netherlands, but thanks to the people at Burton, who gave some solutions that worked just fine, I got it working again. But for people like me who are big fans of hardware boxes, you can see them in the background, this is just a small portion of what I have. It was a bit of a downer that the box itself now has water damage. But besides all that, let's head over to the Playmate 2 itself. Let's start with the overall layout. Everything is well placed with enough room to eliminate electromagnetic interference, or EMI. The components are well soldered to the PCB. Now, this isn't some brand claiming that they are baking the best and delivering rubbish. No, Burton Audio actually know what they are talking about and they deliver top quality. Inside you will find two components that are very interesting. First up, it's the digital to analog converter. Now, Burton chose the ESS Sabre 9038 Pro. This digital to analog converter is the flagship deck that ESS has on offer. It's their absolute best deck with extremely impressive numbers on its datasheet. Now, at the moment I have three different cards that, well, have this component. One is the Creative Sound Blaster X AE5, which has the ESS 9016K, which is just a basic 32-bit stereo digital to analog converter. I also have the Asus Xonar AE, which uses the ESS 9023P, which is a 24-bit stereo digital to analog converter. I also have the Xonar Raid Pro, which uses the Sabre 9006A, which is also 24 bits, but that one is a Premier 8-channel audio digital to analog converter. Now, the other interesting component is the DSP. Now, usually it's something either by Creative or C Media or something rebranded as if it was from Asus. But this time they chose for the XMOS X-Core 200. Now, at the moment I only have one other sound card that also has that exact same DSP, and that's the venerable EVGA NU. Now, for those who've seen previous videos of me, they know, well, that's my absolute favorite sound card of all time. The sound is just, well, as good as it gets. So, with either the ESS and the Xbox combined, the audio quality must already be excellent. So, I'm really anxious to start listening to it and see those results from Rightmark. But before we go there, I have also got some interesting op-amps on here. Of course, they are swappable. Standard, these are the NE5532 and the NE5534. The first one is a single and the second one is a dual op-amp, and they are excellent by themselves. But you can go full nerd mode here by choosing the dual op-amps for the IV stage and single op-amps for the LP stage. Yes, you can modify those two stages instead of the normal one stage. Now, because of the size of the V5 and the V6 op-amps, these op-amps usually don't fit on sound cards. The Playmate 2 is designed in such a way that they can be mounted easily and still fit in the case. You don't need to swap all four, but you will need to install at least 2 singles or 2 duals. I currently only have the duals because the singles are still in shipment somewhere. The mic input is handled by a nice media chip, the CM6327A, a mono microphone audio solution capable of just 48 kHz and 16 bits, which is sort of standard but good enough to do the job. It's not like your mates are waiting to hear the sweet intricate tones of your voice while gaming. Now, normally I do not talk about the build quality of a sound card because usually, well, they're just made of plastic, like this one and all the other ones. There are a couple of ones that are made of aluminium, but that's just for the show. It doesn't serve any purpose. It does serve a purpose with the Burton audio because the machined outer case actually works as a radiator for all the components that get really hot. A really nice solution because now the components can get a bit hotter. Difficult words. It can get a bit hotter and it doesn't need to have a fan to keep them cool. So what about the driver interface? Well, I can be very quick about it. It's absolutely nothing. The driver interface does have some screens, but it serves no purpose. It's more about information than actually making any changes to whatever. And I was a bit sad to see because, well, I thought you could change a lot more. It was also rather difficult or rather strange to get those drivers installed because if you just double click it, it just won't install anything. You need to extract them and use the admin rights to install the driver interface itself. But besides that, there's absolutely no point, at least according to me, to install those drivers because it will work straight out of the box. Also, if you want to set some interesting numbers like the bitrate or the frequency, you can just use the Windows settings. The lack of a good driver interface is absolutely compensated by the little screen that is in front of this sound card. Now, on this screen you can see all kinds of interesting stuff like the DPLL or the de-emphasis or the fur filter. Now, if you don't know what those things mean, I had to look them up myself. If you do not know what they mean, just use the standard values and you'll be good to go. Now, the standard gain level is a bit loud, so if you're using the 32 ohm headset, which is rather standard, you will need to tune down or dial down the volume to its lowest setting and start up from there, because otherwise it will be overpowering. Now, I use my DT990 headset, which is 250 ohms, and it didn't have so much of a problem with that. But I did read online that a lot of people are saying that the gain is too loud, so keep it in mind. I'm guessing that you're all waiting for those Rightmark audio analyzer results. Well, here they are. These are the results at 24 bits and 192 kHz. Now, when you look at the frequency response, it's absolute pure magic. I mean, this is what it's supposed to look like for me. A flat line, meaning that all frequencies are reproduced equally and are not too loud or too quiet. The total harmonic distortion is really good, on the edge of being excellent. And I also love the stereo crosstalk results. The only bad score is of course the total harmonic distortion plus noise, but it still gets a good. Overall, these scores are very good and some of the best scores that I have seen in a long time. By the way, these results were made with the standard NE5532 and the NE5534 op-amps. Also, I did make a weighted test, which means that I also plugged in a headset. So the sound card actually has to do something that most regular sound cards, well, struggle with and give some really bad numbers. So what about that listening session? Well, I think you may have guessed it, but it was a real joy to listen to. Usually I listen to a sound card for about 2-3 hours, but this sound card, I've listened to it, well, the last couple of weeks. I just cannot get enough of it. The sound quality is so immensely good of this sound card. I mean, the basses are oomphy and really deep, but nothing too overpowering. The mid-ranges are a bit, well, louder than I was expecting, but it's something that a lot of gamers really enjoy because you can hear the footsteps a bit better. The highs are nice and crisp, but nothing sharp or annoying or that it will start to hurt your ears. Also, the situational awareness during gaming was excellent. You can pinpoint each location from each other gamer very easily. Also, during listening, you can hear the soundstage. Well, I listened to some Dave Brubeck, for instance, with Take 5. You can hear each instrument on the stage itself. You just close your eyes and you could pinpoint each instrument. It was such a real joy to listen to. Of course, as always, there are also some downsides to a sound card, and I have a couple of them that I must address. First up, it's the little display on the front. If you connect your sound card to your system, there's a little icon in front of the PCM that will start flickering, as you can see in the screen right now. It's nothing really annoying and it's not bothering me, but if you're paying serious money for a sound card, you'd expect that there's nothing flickering in the screen. On the box itself, and of course on the website, it says it's capable of 32 bits and 786 kilohertz, which is a really whopping number. It's twice as much as the EVGA NU. But still, if you're using Windows, the cap is set at 384. That's all due down to how Windows is designed. If you have an Apple, you will be able to reach those 786 kilohertz. But who plays games on an Apple? You need to use Windows or Linux. But that's all besides the point. You can get to 786 kilohertz, but you need to use some additional software and drivers and everything difficult. It doesn't work like that out of the box, something that you should keep in mind. Another minor thing that I'd like to address is the cool stand, as it says on the website. That thing costs you $99 or 88 euros. Which is way too expensive. I mean, the thing keeps falling apart with me, the screws just don't work, and I just don't see any point in using it. It's nice to have if you have one, if you get it for free or something, but I would definitely recommend not to buy it. Another minor thing that I'd like to address is the shipment itself. Besides the box getting wet, of course, that's something that's all, well, the problem of FedEx. But when I placed the order for the V6 Vivids, which was about, well, 1.5 weeks ago, I didn't hear anything until beginning of this week. And then the shipment was just created, that's it. The shipment wasn't even on its way, it was still in Hong Kong somewhere. And if you're paying serious money for some op-amps, you would think, well, you can get some serious shipment or treatment or whatever, but you do not want to wait 1.5 weeks just to get a screen which says the label has been created. And last but not least is the remote control. When I got the Playmate 2, I looked at the website and the manual itself, and you can clearly see that there is a remote control present. But it's not in the box, and when I contacted Burton about them, their reply was you can only get the remote control for our party series through special order. It may be a minor thing, but don't show it on your website or maybe in another way. And also leave it out in the manual or just note in the manual that the remote control isn't standard. Because now I thought, well, something's left out of my order. And now for my conclusion. Well, this is my new absolutely favorite sound card, gamer sound card that I currently own. It's even better than the EVGA, and that's saying something. I mean, the design is cool, and it has a little display on there which shows you all the information that you could and would need. There's an opportunity not to just swap one stage of the op amps, but two, which is really nerdy and excellent just for me. Also, it boasts really high quality components, and I'm not just talking about the ESS Saber or the Exmos. No, all components on there are first grade components. The sound quality is absolutely superb. It's everything that a gamer could ever want. I mean, I couldn't imagine that you could want anything more. There is one really big downside to this sound card that I must address. It's not one of those things that I said before, like the shipment or the wet box or the little flashy icon. I mean, those are all things you can either get used to, or I will get those vids eventually, so I'm not really worried about that. What is the real problem is the price, because if you get the standard version, it will cost you $544. Now that's 475 euros. If you get the one with the Vivids already installed, it will cost you $744 or 655 euros. Now that's a lot of money. For most gamers, that's way out of their budget. I mean, even if you have a budget that could allow for such a hefty price for a sound card, I think that most of those people would even spend it on a better video card just to get more frames per second. And I agree with them. I would do the absolute same thing. It's just that, well, I'm one of those nerds that wants to get the best in audio. But for 99% of the rest of you, I think this is way too pricey. You will still get the best audio quality possible for gamers. I mean, there's no question about that, but is it worth those, well, for me, 650 euros? Well, if I were you, I'd say no. So if you have a little budget left over and you want to spend it on a sound card, what should you get? Well, if you have a lot of money, get the Playmate 2, of course. If you have a little bit less money, try to get your hands on an EVGA NU, which is absolutely superb in audio quality as well, but a lot cheaper. If your budget is even smaller, get yourself an AE5, maybe an AE7 or AE9, or get the external creative sound card, the G6, which is also excellent, and 32 bits and 384 kilohertz. So with this ending, I'd like to thank you for making it all the way to this end. It's a bit of a weird end, isn't it? Because I truly love the Burton Audio Playmate 2, but it's just so expensive. But okay, besides all that, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I'd like to see you in the next one. See you then, bye bye!